So again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We're really looking forward to having you guys on talking about this topic that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for a long time. So thank you. So tell us a little bit about your team, how you guys got started in real estate, and then your ties to the Central Coast, which most people might not know.
Okay. Yeah. So about 14 years ago, I got involved with real estate. But we are originally from Santa Barbara, and I'm a Santa Barbara native, basically. Moved here in 1990 to open up a Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory franchise in the, we had a very, very growing factory outlet right by our state line here, and it was quite successful for a number of years. And we did that, and then that eventually died off. And long story short, my best friend in Santa Barbara, he's still an agent down there with Berkshire Hathaway. Anyway, Brian Urig is his name, and he ended up saying, "Why are you not doing real estate? You're just perfect for real estate." And I said, "Really?" It's like, and so basically, I listened. I heeded that advice, jumped into it, and started basically, we did really well in the first year. I was surprised, and that was 2012, I guess. So real estate was just starting to get out of the hump of the recession that we just had previous to that. And so about within 5 years, my wife joined me, and Candy is her name, and she really added a lot to my. It actually doubled my business in doing that. And so I think that's because there was perspectives that people really enjoyed the positiveness of having a husband-wife team, getting different perspectives on their home or whatever, and that kind of thing. And then shortly after that, about within 3 years later, Shawn joined us because he changed his career and came aboard, and we became a team from this, and have been extremely successful in our area. We're with Windermere Realty up in Coeur d'Alene, and for the past 5 years in our office, we've been the number one agents in our company, and that's been really a good, just something that's been a good accolade for us. And so we've always been able to function as a team. We all have different strengths, and that's a big part of it for us.
That's great. Shawn,
it's a family business.
It's a family business. Yeah. So Shawn, how's it been for you being in real estate, and what was that transition like?
Sure. Yeah, it's been, so I was licensed in February of 2019. So I've been at this about 5.5 years. And my dad, I grew up with my parents always being in business for themselves. They've always been entrepreneurial. They've always had some sort of business working together. So I grew up working alongside them kind of throughout my high school years. I did my own thing after high school and college, and eventually, my dad had always been encouraging me to get into real estate, but I said, "I'm not doing what you're doing. There's no way. Like, I don't want to do what you're doing. You work way too hard. It's too crazy. Like, your schedule is super inconsistent." Like, I was just a typical, like, punch in, punch out kind of guy, work for an hourly wage, or work for a salary, and that was it. And I enjoyed my schedule, like consistency in that. And so it wasn't until I kind of had this, realization that what I was doing, I was working in facilities management. So I was managing office buildings and maintenance and that sort of thing for a church, and then after a church for a large corporation. And so I just hated it. I hated what I was doing and the company I was working for. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll jump out of this kind of career I was in facilities management. And, my dad twisted my arm hard enough to be like, there's nothing else I know how to do. And, just being a people person, customer service oriented is kind of my background. And so I said, well, I guess Real Estate Academy starts in January of 2019. I'll jump in and treat it as a full-time career. And then, and so I did that, got my license in February, and it was just amazing to just step into an established real estate business where a lot of agents who are starting out, really struggle to build a sphere or to just kind of know, like, how do you sell real estate? Like, how do you represent sellers? How do you represent buyers? and what kind of support do you have from a brokerage? And so it was just a huge blessing to be able to just step into just a family business. And the kind of the ultimate end goal with us is that as my folks start heading towards retirement and wanting to slow down, is that I'll just continue the legacy of the Taranto Group and just keep it going. And maybe I'll bring my wife aboard, here in the next, near future. So we'll just keep it going.
I love it.
I know, that's so cool. It's a rare thing for families to be able to enjoy to work together like that. That says a lot about you guys. That's very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's get into this because I'm so curious.
He's ready.
My parents, among many others, did the migration over to Idaho. And other parts of the country as well. People have moved out of California. But I mean, generally the question I had for you guys is just how has it impacted the local economy, the public opinion? I mean, we know here because it's such you guys know the Central Coast, it's such a tight, small community that when we have people coming up from LA, San Francisco, out of town, it's like, no, like stay away.
Right. Do you think of us the same way there? What is that? Are you rolling your eyes when all the Californians are coming to town?
So maybe let's start there. Let's start with just how is it? I mean, I'm sure there's pros and cons and all of that, but just what's the feeling been generally and how's it affected the local economy?
Yeah. Well, I can just answer. I can say it's keeping Idaho very green with all the green cash for the influx from California. We're very thriving. A lot of people have discovered Coeur d'Alene as a real destination place to come to. It's a tourist place. They come up in the summer times, but now people are saying, hey, I want to live there. When we came out of Santa Barbara, it's really hard to beat the Central Coast and Santa Barbara to, leave an area so beautiful as it is down there. And then to find something in the Northwest that would rival that, this is probably about one of the best you can find because we have the 4 distinct seasons of the year here. That's what people love. They love the climate. They love the ability to access lakes, rivers, streams. And yet culture, we have Spokane that's just 45 minutes away. It's across the border. We have an opera house, there's the sports arena. There's all kinds of things, shopping. We literally are getting a Trader Joe's here.
Oh my gosh. That was it. I was waiting for that. So now I'm ready to buy.
Yeah. I mean, do you have an In-N-Out though?
Do you have no In-N-Out? That's the problem. You franchise an In-N-Out?
That's next.
I'm there.
But Trader Joe's is opening in the fall. So we're really excited about that. But anyway, with that said, I think, our economy is very booming. Our restaurants are full. I mean, our service industries are full. It's hard to get people to work on your, to come and clean your, do carpet cleaning, whatever. It takes a while. Everything is just filled up, and there's so many needs for services here right now. So
yeah, and I
will say, it's not just California. So it is like we have people moving from literally all over the country, and so not only like Western Washington is a huge one for us. So a lot of people coming out of Seattle, Bellevue, Portland, even just Spokane. So people who work in Spokane, but they want to live in Idaho. So they're just jumping across the state line in order to live in Idaho and still keep and maintain their job in Spokane. So I just want to paint the whole picture. It's not just California.
Yeah, we're not alone.
But, a lot of people from Arizona. So, they want to maintain their home in Arizona for the winter, but it's too hot for them in the summer. So they want to be up here in the summer and then snowbird down to Arizona, when it gets cold and dark, and it's dark at 3:30 here in February. So, we have those types of people that live here who want just quality of life, different seasons, and it's not just California.
Yeah.
So,
Bobby, have you been to?
Yeah, actually. So a few summers ago, I did a road trip from Wyoming to get the Sprinter van. And I said Idaho was the place. Like, I didn't want to leave. We extended our trip many days just in that area. The air, the people, I love it there.
Yeah, you keep using this word seasons, and I'm not sure what you mean.
we don't have them here.
Yeah, no, we actually went out.
Degrees all year round.
We went out a couple summers ago to visit my parents, and we went to the lake. It was beautiful. I mean, it's just a great spot. So I don't I understand why it's attractive to people. So, what about the housing market? I mean, what have you guys seen changes? I mean,
yeah, all those people coming in town makes me think that the prices maybe have gone up a bit. You've seen some changes.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, I think what really happened was, like, I think for everybody, particularly like the COVID years, the pandemic time when we had just panicked buying, that just skyrocketed our housing market as far as pricing goes. So like in 2020, and Coeur d'Alene hit the map for the United States. Like we were in the Wall Street Journal. It's just like all of a sudden people, oh, Coeur d'Alene, like where is that? Is that in Iowa? Like where is Coeur d'Alene? And so it quickly has become like a destination spot for people to live, and it's just incredible here. Like the Pacific Northwest, this is probably one of the most desirable places to be. There's some really cool spots in Montana that kind of compare, but I think for the panhandle of Idaho, this has really become just a hot destination. Everybody, that we help and speak to, especially coming from out of California, and you're asking like, well, what do you want? Like, what are you looking for? And it's like, everybody wants 5 acres.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to be 20 minutes to town, but you're like, well, have you been here before? Do you know where you have to be here to see like our geography, like the topography, like what are the roads like, getting to and from places. And so because Coeur d'Alene is essentially landlocked, we've got Lake Coeur d'Alene just to the south of us, and then, national forests kind of surrounding the lake and in kind of all directions. And so really growth has become very just centralized for a lot of new construction. And we're seeing like a lot of our prairie land that connects Coeur d'Alene into Spokane, like on the Washington-Idaho border. What was farmland is now becoming tract housing. And we're seeing large corporations like Toll Brothers, for instance. These big housing conglomerates are purchasing hundreds of acres and building tract homes. And so we're just seeing this mass influx of that, and also apartment complexes because of housing affordability is tough here. So people have to live somewhere, they have to work. So if they can't afford to buy, well, now they're renting and in all these apartment complexes.
And then to the other extreme, we have celebrities coming to town over in Gaza Ranch, which is just across the lake from the resort. And, really multi-million-dollar homes with big names that you would know right off the bat. They stay to themselves pretty much, but it's been discovered that way. People have, realized, wow, this is such a beautiful area to live in, a part of the country that, we never knew about it, and now it's something that I think people understand. It used to just be a logging town years ago. When my wife and I, we moved here, we were first married back in 1980, then went back to Santa Barbara for a number of years. We were here for a couple of years. This was just a logging town. It was kind of a resort, but that's what it was known for. And it was just really common folk, really conservative values, everything, that you think of in terms of a small town. Mm-hmm. Now it's really sprawling much more from that. But we do have still, I think, the nature of the small town in our downtown corridor. It's kind of like during the holiday seasons, it's like a Norman Rockwell painting. It's just gorgeous here, in that sense. And people think of, Coeur d'Alene as having that charm, the ability to have just things that people remember growing up that, here's how I used to always put it. I used to always say, Coeur d'Alene is the Santa Barbara of the 1960s, if that makes any sense to you. If anybody listening out there understands what I'm saying. Santa Barbara was, in the 60s, was, my parents had a business there, and, I grew up with that, and you kind of knew everybody in town, it seemed like. It's the same thing here. We're the Santa Barbara, of the 1960s in Coeur d'Alene. It's still, people talk to you when you're in any of the stores, that, the checkers, the people that, people get frustrated with that because they carry on conversation. They don't just blow you off. Everybody, you're in line, you're waiting, they're going on about their kids or whatever. It's just funny. But that's what you have to understand. The pace of life is slower here. It's not not high speed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't have the 90 mile an hour, you know, freeways going, you know, type of thing. So a little different here.
So what's it done to, maybe you could talk to the sort of pre-pandemic and post-pandemic median sales prices. Where have you seen that move?
Yeah, that is a really good question. And I have some fantastic stats. So like back in 2018, our median in Kootenai County was 290,000. And so today in 2024, we're pushing about 550.
Wow.
So
median.
Median.
Yeah.
Median.
And you know, for your listeners, you have to understand the difference between median and average pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So median is taking in those, you know, trailers, you know, all the way to the $1 million listing. So it blends everything together. And that's where you'll come up with the median, because the average will really skew that.
Yeah.
You know, when I do the average pricing on something, because we may sell a, you know, a $4 million home on the lake, you know, type of thing, and would skew that way off. So, and by the way, we are getting so many more listings at over $1 million that I've ever seen. When I came in the business years ago, my first sale was $139,000, you know, for a really nice track house in Post Falls. And I have to say, too, it's been interesting to watch, because people have always come from California up here. They just have. I think for a lot of people for a long time, this was like a candy store for people for housing, because it's like, oh my gosh, I can get this amount of, you know, space, and I can get what I want, blah, blah, blah. And it's only cost this, and I sold my house here for so much. And you know, it was always that for years and years. It really was. It was kind of like pick and choose what you wanted. And, you know, in the local market here, it was a little more difficult, you know, for people to sell their home and buy something, because they just didn't make the money on the homes here at that time to buy something a little higher. It was more of a lateral move for people. But people from California coming up for years, it was like, oh, I mean, I can't believe what I own right now for
bang for the buck. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing.
How's it been with inventory? I know across the country, mostly inventory is low. And so it's funny. I always, you know, we talk to buyers and sellers every day, and everyone's complaining about interest rates, and I understand the affordability, but when you look historically, higher interest rates means inventory can build. And so it's this double-edged sword of, if rates go down, then affordability gets better, but inventory drops, competition increases because now you have a bigger buyer pool. So how has the inventory been in Idaho where you guys are? Are you guys feeling that pinch of like just low inventory still? And are you feeling that like kind of supporting higher prices or what?
Not so much. I think we're getting into more of a balanced market. So it's kind of an attrition rate. What happens is I think a really truly balanced market is 6 months of inventory.
Yeah.
And I believe we're right about 4.5 to 5 months of inventory.
Oh, wow. That's way higher than I thought.
Yeah,
I just assumed it was, I think we're at maybe 2. So,
No.
So I thought you guys were down where we are. So that's good.
Well, we're also we're a seasonal real estate marketplace. Mm-hmm. So, you know, summertime, we're now getting into the season where there's more inventory. You know, less people want to sell a home in the winter time, you know, and move in the winter. And if they do, there's significant reasons why they're moving in the winter. You know, maybe family changes, job changes, what have you. But the summertime is really when people like, let's test the market. This is when historically you can get the most for your home is during the summer months, the 3, you know, June, July, August, maybe into September, you know, before school gets kicked in. So we are, like, whenever you look at our stats charts, everything has always peaked during those 3-4 months of the summer. And then it kind of tapers off as you get into the fall and then early spring, you know, January, February. So
how's it been with sort of days on market and buyer competition? Are you guys seeing like what percentage of homes, and I know it's pricing strategy and all that, but how many have multiple offers that you're getting? What's the competition been like?
We are getting into a multiple offer market again. If it's priced right and it's attractive, it wins the price war in the beauty contest. It gets multiple offers. So that's how we always coach our sellers is like, we got to price it attractively. You want to generate buzz. You want to generate offers. And so, we are seeing like our average days on market in our county is it's hovering in the mid 90s, maybe like 100, 101 for that's our whole county. So which makes up multiple different cities within our county. So if you kind of target those specific cities, well, then that days on market is going to change. But averaging about 100-ish days on market is where we're at right now.
And again, you have to clarify what days on market is. That's right when it got listed and to the point that it closed. So you have to consider, people can have a longer escrow for whatever reason. It could have got, an offer on it and then got in contract right away, but for whatever reason, they wanted a longer escrow. So yeah, I think about 100 right now. I don't know what you're seeing down there.
It's 12, 14, probably right in there.
I think it's 14 right
now.
Yeah.
So it's
like,
it's tough right now. I mean, we just don't have much inventory, like I shared, and yes, rates are high-ish. You know what I mean? But it's still, there's a ton of buyer activity, and we're dealing with multiple. I mean, so just to give you an example, I was showing a couple houses over the last few days that are they're priced at 708 and 789, somewhere in there, and they're the lowest priced single family homes currently on the market in Arroyo Grande. And you've got multiple, those are both going to be multiple offer scenarios probably. So
go well over.
And go well over. So it's really tough.
But great if you're selling here.
That price point here gets you a very nice home.
Yes,
really nice.
That's right.
I know. I'm going to go take a look at what we could get there.
I know.
So that's what I'm wondering, because I know people are going to be listening. I have these conversations all the time. People are thinking of selling here on the Central Coast or in California and making that move. What advice do you have for those people who are contemplating it, who are maybe on the fence with it? What would you tell them?
I would say come visit. Come see the Northwest for yourself. I work with a lot of buyers, remotely, and they will, we get them set up on a search for what they need. And then we start sending them listings and they start looking at photos and it looks wonderful online. But until you actually get here and you drive the roads, you see it for yourself, that's a whole nother experience. So if you've never been to the Northwest or, Northern Idaho, just come visit, spend a week here. You could really, within like 4 days, you could really see a lot of like our cities and get a feel for certain areas that are interesting. And like I just spent this whole last week with buyers from Santa Fe. So they were originally from Montana. They want to come back to the Northwest. And so we spent, 3 days just looking everywhere and quickly kind of ruling out areas that were not of interest. But when you look on a map and you see like, oh, that looks great. But then they got here and then, well, that's not what we thought it was, or that's not what we want. And so if people are contemplating like, leaving where you guys are, like come visit, spend 4 or 5 days here and just see the area and get a feel for it. Just have an open mind. I would say that.
Buy a Sprinter van.
I know.
And
borrow mine.
Pull a Bobby.
it needs
borrow Bobby's.
We have on our website, which is Taranto Group, and that's spelled Taranto, TarantoGroup.com. We have some really good videos of the area that I think that will give you a real good feel for what Coeur d'Alene is, in all the different seasons. And so I think it's wise for people to check it out. It's really amazing, but like I said, this has been kind of a little gem. For people for years and years that people would come to Coeur d'Alene and it was kind of hidden and people didn't understand. They think of Idaho as potato. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Idaho potatoes. Right? We have nothing to do with potatoes. I mean, it's a varied state, right? And so, Boise, for example, is a very large community. Down there, it's about 700,000 to 800,000 people now, and very arid. And you come to North Idaho. And it's completely different. This is a completely different feel, than the southern part of Idaho. So I think if you come to the northern part of Idaho, you can really experience a quality of life. I think that's what people are looking for. And I have to say, too, you have to remember when you come here, remember Idaho is a red state. I'm not trying to get political, but it's just, that's what it is. And so in coming here, it has a lot of conservative values. And so you will, have that kind of like-mindedness of people here. In that sense, not everybody's that way, but what I'm saying is that's in general what we're kind of noted for. During the pandemic, we were not shut down whatsoever. We every restaurant was open. People were, as a matter of fact, every restaurant here was just absolutely full during the pandemic because people from Spokane were coming because they had to, wear masks and the whole thing and go through that whole process. And people hated that. And then they could come here and feel freedom. And that's kind of what we're a real freedom state. I mean, there's people here that move here have kind of an independent spirit.
Yeah, it sounds like, you guys have had an influx of people from all over the country, and with that will come infrastructure changes and all of that. But it sounds like it's really kept its heart.
Yeah, you've maintained who you are.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, our 4th of July parade is so Americana. It's funny. It's almost funny.
Yeah. Well,
like stepping back in time.
Oh man, so I might be flying out in August, to visit my parents. So would love to meet up with you guys and see if I'm out there. So I'll keep you posted on that. But
that'd be awesome.
Okay, here's how we close every podcast. We ask our guests 4 questions, and now we got 2 for the price of 1 with you guys, and we have 8 minutes to do it because I got the cheap free Zoom.
Here
so
we go.
Question number 1.
Question number 1. What is your favorite book, movie, or TV show?
Well, my favorite TV show is Seinfeld.
Classic.
In fact, my wife and we're going through it chronologically for the 3rd time now. So we just rewatch it.
I love it.
Time.
Never gets old.
Always relevant. You still laugh at every episode, the same scene. So that's my favorite show.
Great.
Okay, I like it.
Charlie?
Favorite movie, Les Miserables. With
nice.
Liam Nielsen. That one is my favorite.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Question number 2. Who is the most influential person in your life?
Well, it would be Jesus Christ.
Hey, good answer.
I would have to say that.
Good answer.
That's our faith really drives us. It's who we are. We can't divorce it from ourselves in that sense. And so that would be the most influential person for me. For you.
Well, Shawn, don't say anything else now.
Shawn,
you can't.
you can't
top that.
I can't
Just say ditto.
No, I'm gonna say my folks. Honestly, I think working with them on a daily basis, there's so much to learn and grow, and I glean a lot of wisdom, throughout the day-to-day operations of working together. So
it's good.
Oh, I love that. Okay, describe your ideal day.
We usually ask on the Central Coast, but you guys, Coeur d'Alene, what's your ideal day over there?
So I would say what season?
Yeah, sure. Your ideal season.
Well, what's ideal for you? Yeah. Do you want the sun to be out? Do you want it to be cozy?
Yeah. So like right now we're pushing, it's going to be 82 degrees today. It's Bluebird Day. So this is like, we'll be on the water, go down to the dock, camping. Like there's so many places to camp up here that are close by within 30 to 45 minutes. So you can very easily do just a quick 2-night, weekend getaway. Get in the water, get to a stream, get to a river, ton of fishing activity. And then in the winter, we have 5 ski resorts within an hour of Coeur d'Alene. So you can kind of pick and choose who has got the best snow, maybe who had the best, snowfall for the evening or the day, and go get some laps in. And so for me, ideal would be snowboarding in the winter, or this time of year, I'm going to hop on my bike and go for a cycle. We have a ton of amazing trails to just play on, go explore either in the woods or if you want to do some road cycling. So there's just a lot to do here.
Lots of
at
options.
any given time.
Yeah, and I like to go, with my wife, we like to go up to Sandpoint, which is just north of us. It's kind of like when we lived in Santa Barbara, we'd always go to Solvang, and so Sandpoint's a really cool little community. It's right on the Lake Pend Oreille, It's just fun to go downtown. Just fun little shops, really good eating. Just a lot of. It's the same thing here, but it's just a smaller version of here, is what it is. So we have some really neat communities like that. Just some cool little places that are, just fun little historic places to go. And so
Love
it's fun.
That's great.
Put that on your list.
Yep,
when you're
got
there
it.
in August.
You're gonna take me around. Probably no snow, so maybe we'll get in the
should take the
lake.
Sprinter.
Yeah, it'd be nice in August.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, final question. How do people get in touch with you if they have other questions?
Sure. The best way is to go to our website, tarantogroup.com, and it's spelled with 2 A's, not with O's, like Canada. Taranto group.com. And on there's a contact us button. You can fill out a form. You can shoot us a message through that, and we'd love to just have a conversation with you. You can pick our brains about anything and everything Idaho, and just love to connect in that way.
Awesome.
Great. Well,
Okay, we'll do
Shawn,
it.
Charlie, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the work you guys are doing out there, the way that you do it, and all the insight you have on the market out there. So I really appreciate you guys
Thank you.
taking the
It's
time.
so fun being a former Californian.
Yeah, right? I know. It's great. You guys best of both worlds. You know it all.
It is. I can completely understand where you guys are and appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah.
So you would love coming here. I can tell you that. Everything here is just got what people are looking for, I think.
Love it. Cool.
Sounds like it. So great to chat with you guys.
Thanks for your time. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.